Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of hell. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at ubnradio.com.
Good Friday, everyone. Good Friday. Good Friday. We're going to kick off this weekend the right way. There's a lot of stuff happening, so welcome to all our viewers and listeners across the country and around the world. I am Ron Frierson, excuse me, your host of Focus with Ron Frierson. So it's been a pretty busy week. Hillary Clinton has had a great week, I should say. Stressful, but great week. So yesterday she was in a hearing for 9+ hours discussing the Benghazi attacks. And so I wanted to speak with that on my thoughts portion of this program. And it's somewhat of a travesty. I did some research like I normally do. It looks like during the Bush administration alone, between 2002 and 2006, there were 29 deaths due to attacks on our consulates and embassies around the world. That includes multiple attacks in Pakistan, Uzbekistan, India, Indonesia, Syria. We even had an attack in Athens, Greece. No one was injured in that attack. But these things happen when you set up diplomatic posts in hot spots around the globe. And it's unfortunate. But what's even more unfortunate than the loss of these 4 American lives is our willingness to accept any political party, whether they're Democratic or Republican, to use this tragedy for political purposes. Taxpayers pay for that. Obviously, the media is not going to complain because they're going to get eyeballs to the screen, and they like that. But we should really check ourselves and in some way, shape, or form, get those different outlets to understand that we should not have to fund those types of endeavors wherein it's simply a witch hunt. So in that regards, I understand some of the narrative was about Hillary's ability to keep her cool. And they made that a main narrative throughout the trial, where she didn't blow up and she stayed composed. Of course, she's running for the post of the President of the United States. It's just it really concerns me how we've allowed ourselves to be duped in so many ways, and I hope that through programs like mine and others, we look beyond the spin. We look beyond the entertainment factor that's infected our politics. We look beyond the celebrity factor that's entertained our politics and start to look at policies, start to look at the individual and what they can bring to the job realistically in the environment that we live in the political environment we live in. And then from there, we can possibly start to really tackle some of the issues that's facing us. Those issues in regards to climate change, in regards to education, and in regards to the national security. All of these issues that affect us in our daily lives, that's a lot more important than whether or not Donald Trump's hair is real. That's a lot more important than a lot of the stuff that we speak about. Now, Today on my show, I have two wonderful guests. We have a repeat guest, my friend, Mr. Woody Wilson.
Hello.
Hi,
hello.
Woody.
How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing very well. Woody's a prominent entrepreneur of the Woody Wilson collection, a fashion icon, I like to call him.
Thank you.
We have a first-time guest, but a very dear friend, Dr. Rashi, I call him, but Dr. Norris Dorsey.
How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to touch on a few topics today, but first I wanted to speak on what is going on, obviously, with our political system in the election season, because these decisions, I don't know about you guys, but it has me a little bit concerned because these are the people and the current environment, media environment, are what we're going to need to highlight those people that will be making decisions for us on the world stage. And there's a lot going on in the world right now.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on. So what do you guys think about the Benghazi hearings? Did you pay attention to that at all?
Yeah, I mean, 11 hours, first of all, that's ridiculous. I don't know who could sit for 11 hours and answer all those questions, but she was steadfast and really showed her leadership abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I like Hillary. I think when we look at the political arena, Donald Trump is making a mockery of all this. And incidentally, did you hear the update on his hair? It's actually their antennae, because he's from outer space. That guy is not, he is not someone that I think we should elect to lead our country. I mean,
So what does that say? Because that's common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like it would be a common sense narrative that a caricature of a person, someone who blatantly offends other ethnicities in our country, which is very multicultural and very diverse, someone who's blatantly said misogynistic or at best just off-key remarks about women, for him to be elected. Now, he's number 2 in the polls right now, Iowa. Ben Carson took him over.
That's
but
right.
Iowa's a very conservative, almost a very religious conservative state, and because of that, they usually go for I think they went for Huckabee one year too.
Right.
So they always go for the religious person. But what does that say about us? The fact that he is consistently in the polls, and we know it's all about the entertainment factor, because he hasn't said anything in regards to policy.
Yeah, well, I kind of like the fact there's some good points about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing to he's not a politician. He's not speaking in the political vernacular and not answering the questions. He's a little too abrupt, but he's bringing some issues to the table. He's not a real politician in my eyes, but there's some things I like about the guy. I got to be honest with you. I'd never vote for him to lead the country, but that's just my outlook on him.
It's the straight talk.
Yeah, it's a straight talk.
And also, we're in a reality world,
Mm-hmm.
right? So everything is reality. People love entertainment, and Trump is delivering right along those lines. That's why they have this preseason to the elections. He'll never win a general election.
No.
Yeah, even with straight talk, though, the thing that concerns me, let's just say for whatever reason, some huge scandal, not to say it's going to happen, but some huge scandal came in, and they will look for it if it came to Hillary, and that she's completely unelectable, and she was, and at this point she was the Democratic nominee. So then let's say Trump got in office. The thing that is dangerous is that when a president speaks, what they say tends to become policy. That's one of the reasons why when President Obama was running for his office, especially the first term, I kind of admired him, because I know that I have to be the same way sometimes. Obviously, he's at a much higher level, but you have to think as you speak. And so you speak a little slower, and you hear him trying to put his words together deliberately. Mm-hmm. And that's what's necessary when the words that you say can become policy, or if you twist something and you didn't mean it in that respect,
right,
it can cause ripple effects that can cause damage somewhere else on the other side of the globe.
Absolutely right.
So what if we have someone like Donald Trump? I can see us going to war with Canada.
Can you imagine?
Because Donald Trump said something like, "Oh, Canadian bacon, I hate it." Next thing you know, we on the Minnesota northern border fighting.
That's right.
But it's so that really concerns me in that regard.
Yeah.
So I just don't take them seriously. But it says a lot about the Republican Party if they are that angry
right,
to take this man seriously. What the hell are they angry about?
Well,
that brings up an entirely different issue.
It's called
Yeah.
success.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I stated before, when Boehner's his statement when Obama was elected, our objective is to make him a one-term president. I mean, this is going in. So they're not pushing for the country, the success of the country, and it's just they can't even choose a leader within their own party. Nobody wants to stand up and take that role. They're in big trouble.
They're in big trouble. I mean, obviously, what's baked into the cake here in our country. And before I go any further, let me give the call-in number for our viewers. Viewers, feel free to call in with comments or questions, and you can reach us at area code 323-843-2826. Again, 323-843-2826. So what I was going to say is that what's baked into the cake is that whatever side of the political prism or side you're on, there are institutions and business interests that profit and have invested in that mentality.
Absolutely.
So if you all the way far right wing, Matt Drudge of the Drudge Report, he has ad sales. That's how he makes his money as well. He has listeners and viewers and readers and things of that sort. Rush Limbaugh, we all know. And on the other side of the spectrum, if you are somebody with the Nation magazine, or let's say someone far left. I don't even consider Bernie Sanders that far left anymore, but something like that. But there are institutions that are set up that keep people in those pockets and reinforce what they already want to know.
Right.
So that means that no matter what Hillary does, there are some people that she is just not going to
appeal
win
to.
over.
Yeah.
And vice versa when it comes to Donald Trump. If you have anything better than an 8th grade education, you should know that. Could you really see him going talking before the UN?
You know what scares me is that his poll numbers, I mean, he was leading the polls for such a long time. Who are these people?
Right.
I mean, they've got to be very young voters. But I haven't seen, I don't know what the demographics are of his.
Let me just say this. I've never been called, to endorse one candidate or another. So they're not calling my house. They're not calling your house. Who knows whose houses they're getting these poll numbers from? But
well, that was the case always. Even when Obama was running, I was like, where are these poll numbers coming from?
exactly.
I got called for Obama's polls a few times, but some places, because we live in California, some things will be taken for granted. We won't get because we are solidly a Democratic state,
Sure.
so they don't waste a
don't
lot of their
call.
money out here. They'll waste I shouldn't say waste, but they'll spend their money in those swing states where they can sway left or right.
Right.
So I don't even know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But so on the Obama thing, somewhat on the Obama thing, I don't know whether or not you guys have any opinions on his decision, I should say, not to allow Russia to kind of take on Syria.
I think it was a smart move.
I actually believe the same exact
Yeah,
thing.
I'm glad we did it.
Now the Hawks and maybe even some of our Israeli allies say, okay, you're just making Bashar Assad a little bit more powerful. But if you let Russia, there was already an alliance there.
Right.
So it'll just be the status quo.
Right.
And at the same time, just because Russia comes in and helps out Bashar Assad, that doesn't mean that he won't have any opposition anymore. It doesn't mean there's going to be peace in Syria. One thing about those areas, and we may even understand this with some of our interaction with people from that part of the world, they have little sects and clans. It's like very tribal in certain respects. It's not like a nationalist like you find in some countries like we do here in the United States. You are American.
Yeah.
There, some of them may, in Syria, some of them may refer to themselves as Alawites first.
Right.
Or then they may refer to themselves as Shia first, or they may refer Christian. But they have all, and it's been like that
Here's
forever.
my theory on that.
Yeah.
I think you got to be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to run the Middle East. Excuse me, but we took out Saddam Hussein, and we just destabilized the whole Middle East. If we take out Assad, it's going to be even more destabilized.
Yeah.
I think what you do is you let Russia go ahead, stabilize Assad, keep it stable in that region, and just step off. We don't need to get involved in that at all.
Step off.
Now, if they want to start hating on Russia and going there and bombing and trying to blow up their buildings, Hey, listen,
If that's
I think
what
we've done
Putin's
enough
want,
damage.
exactly. I complete, and you would think that Russia would know better because of their experience in Afghanistan.
Right.
But if they want to go back, I mean, I think it's so smart for a lot of people on the right, and even like I said, some of our Israeli allies would say, that's just making Bashar Assad is making him more powerful, but it really isn't.
Right.
Because he's not going to become more popular. He'll have more muscle, yeah. But if it was all about muscle, then we would have had Afghanistan taken care of. We would have had Iraq completely taken care of.
Right.
So it's not all about muscle in those parts of the world.
Right.
Yeah, you actually have to, talk to people.
Exactly. And then to speak with people, they have to be willing to listen, and vice versa. And some of the people, those differences and that anger and all that stuff is so entrenched. It's so much.
It's a lack of
who they
education.
are. Yeah, well, it's not just education because it's of what they're educated on.
Right.
In many respects, they grow up with hundreds, if not thousands of years of built-in hatred of why this group doesn't like this group. And maybe the young will have hope, but then when someone in their families are affected, and then if you're around your family and your family is very loving, and just think about it. If you grow up in an environment and your family is very loving, you love your family, but then they tell you that and you see nothing but love, but they tell you that these people here are our enemies because they've done this and they've done that. Then without even knowing, you're just coming from this person you love, you're like, well, maybe. And then if you have a bad experience, and then if it's propagated in your surroundings of how bad these certain people are, it's hard to break that cycle.
It's just like being in a gang, Ron, in the inner city.
Okay, I think we have a call coming in. Caller, thanks for calling in, man. Have your name and the city you're calling from. Hello? Okay, maybe we lost him. Hey, that's our first technical difficulty. Growing pain. I like that. Okay, so like I was saying, when you have that type of situation where you are entrenched and involved, and this is part of who you are, it's hard to break that mold. And I really do believe that's a lot of the reason why we see a lot of stuff going on in the Middle East, even between Israel and the Palestinians.
And that's why I said education, because they're just not exposed. They're ignorant to a lot of things. I mean, they've only seen life out of one perspective and not, it's just, the analogy I just said about a gang. I mean, you're loved, right? Mm-hmm. And you think the other gang is your rival, and you kill them or do whatever you need to do because that's how you were raised.
Sure. I don't know if ignorance is the right word, but what I can say is this, is that the tragedy of all of it is the fact that it all stems from religion, which is supposed to be about love.
Right. In the Middle East,
major Abrahamic religious tradition, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all come from Abraham. They all at their core preach love.
Right.
But like I said before in the show, and I know I'll say it again, the cradle of where all of those religions began tends to be the one part of the earth where they have had the least amount of peace over these years. So the birthplace of loving doctrines and loving religions is also the place of the most unrest.
Ground zero.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. So, well, we're going to switch topics a little bit, guys, because I want you guys both to kind of tell me a little bit about what's going on with you. And one of the things that I like to really touch on, because I know the demographic of my show, and it's pretty broad, but I hold a bit of a responsibility to bring some things to the fore and to bring some things to our viewers' attention. And some of the things that really touch me personally are things that are in regards to minority communities, obviously, and also education and our youth and things of that sort. And so I'm pleased today to have two entrepreneurs, two scholars. Well, with me, I'm a scholar too, I should say. Three of us, yeah. But I think it's important, and it's important for us to put ourselves out there in a certain respect so that youngsters can see a version of themselves that they can aspire to exceed. So, however well they think that we're doing, it is our ultimate goal and our duty to be sure that the next generation does better. So anyway, so I want to take that and kind of talk to my man, Dr. Rashid Norris Dorsey of the Dorsey Academy of Entrepreneurs. Tell us a little bit about what you do, your background, and your organization.
So let me just begin by saying, as a professor, as an instructor, I teach, I coach. Been coaching for a long time. Let me go back to the beginning. I was born and raised in Chicago, grew up in Los Angeles, was bi-coastal throughout my high school years, going back and forth. Played sports, loved every sport. And so once I got to the adult age and started understanding my purpose and power, education became the key for me. So being a teacher for the last 14, 15 years, watching the system, paying attention to how the economy and the economic empowerment was kind of shifting, the disappearing of the middle class, the rich versus the poor. I just paid attention to it. I became entrenched in learning about how to make a difference, how to change, how to be on the ground, getting to the youth, speaking to the young people, kind of exercising that motivation within them to teach them how to do for themselves. And then we get to this point where I'm at now with the Dorsey Academy. I sat back and said, you know what, I'd like to start my own thing. In education, we're taught to just teach out the book, but we're not really taught to give them the real world of what really goes on outside of school.
Well, I just want to make sure that wasn't missed. You started the Dorsey Academy.
Yes.
What exactly is the Dorsey Academy?
So it's a college.
Wow.
So in essence, I started my own college.
Got it. That's huge.
Teaching, I said, you know what? This is a business like any other business you would start. So I wanted to go out on my own and just do my own thing. The other part of it is I wanted to make a change, a paradigm shift, because, you know, when you're looking at, when you're in the inside looking out, you know, it's hard to make a difference.
Exactly.
From that point, I had to get outside of myself and, you know, go out there into the community and talk to people and see what they really wanted in their education. And that's where, you know, the desire to do my own thing came from.
Okay, is there some sort of like area of education you specialize in? Is there something that you see that these are the key, you know, pieces of the puzzle that need to be put together? And then how do you implement that, and what makes you different than some of the other?
Yeah, so in essence, Ron, the research that I've done is you know, applying real world examples, putting positive people in front of these youth, or just in general anybody that want to start their own business, and also teaching them specifically what they want to learn. So, you know, we're like a business trade school. Okay. We only teach business. We only teach entrepreneurship. You're not going to get history at the Dorsey Academy. You're not going to get geography. Now, if you want to start a business on those two subject matters, okay, then that's what we're going to focus on. But the most part is just understanding how to start your idea and get it into the paperwork and get it into business, to get it running, and then to continue it. Because it's one thing to start, it's another thing to be able to stay in business.
And most small businesses fail. So what you're doing is that I think it's higher than that.
Higher than that. Wow.
Yeah, but what you're doing is that you're giving them tools to increase their likelihood of surviving over the 5 years. Because I guess they say maybe 80+% of small businesses fail within 5 years, which makes sense. If you don't, I mean, obviously there's a lot of factors that can go into that, market conditions and things of that sort. But what also goes into that is whether or not they are prepared, you know, with these fundamentals of business, because it's not just a good idea that you need to have. That's the beginning, but there's procurement, there's marketing, there's pricing, there's all these different components that go into it. And so you teaching your students all about that. Is it like hopefully it's not too expensive, man, because
well, that's one of the things that I had to really bring to the table is it's affordable. All right, educational costs has become enormous. If
So
you
you're
wanna,
not taking your G6 to class?
no.
No
We're not,
limos.
we're not driving the Creflo Dollar plane to class. Forgive me,
Wait.
Creflo. But just think about it from this standpoint. The top 10 business schools, average about $50,000 a semester to go to.
Kindergarten in LA costs about that much too, I hear.
Exactly.
Close, very close.
So,
Very close.
when you think about education and the rising costs, it shouldn't cost that much. You shouldn't come out of school with that much debt because really the system is not set up for you to be able to pay that debt back. You're getting the second largest debt in your life, behind a mortgage. All right, and we know that unless you're making $200,000-$300,000 a year, you're not going to be able to pay that back.
So how does it work? Attending your academy, what is the duration of the classes? What's the tuition like? And
Sure.
And what class sizes should you expect, or is it online? Or?
Yeah. So what we figured out is that the most successful type of schools are going to be, accelerated, learn quickly, so you can get to doing what you want to do, which is making money or starting your business. So they're 4-week to 5-week classes. You do get a certificate at the end of your training. We are going to be online very soon, but right now they're on ground.
Great.
Most people are coming in learning,
Right.
from the instruction of a teacher.
Yeah, I prefer that.
Yeah, because the paradigm is shifting.
Yeah.
Towards more online, towards more trade schools and things of that
I
nature.
wonder, like in trade schools, I get that, but I wonder what is pushing this online deal. I wonder if, okay, obviously the costs to the university are lessened because they don't have to worry about employing as many teachers. They can have someone just a teacher or professor that can consult a larger group of people, but then they can just put all the stuff online. They don't have to invest as much in facilities and things of that sort, and they can get paid because they're offering their classes at a more convenient time. So now they're not, the students or would-be students don't have the constraints of time that they would normally have if they had to go to traditional brick and mortar school. You think that it's mostly profit driven? Almost everything they do is profit driven. But when you think about obviously you got the Ivy League schools that will always do well with the endowments and things of that sort. And then you got the state funded schools that don't do as well as they used to because most states have budget issues. But then you got these private schools like University of Phoenix and this and the other that were making money hand over fist by
Online.
using this model.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they started the model.
Right.
Yeah.
But think about it this way, Ron and Woody. Amazon, Best Buy. Some people just prefer to shop online.
Right.
All right. Some people like to go to Best Buy, touch and feel, ask questions.
Yeah.
Well, what prevents you from, my brother's a lot smarter than I am. What prevents me from paying him to do my online classes?
Yeah, so they have ways of checking, but the most part is that you get in what you put out. So you can go and get a paper mill degree. Okay, a lot of people do that, but then that doesn't change the fact that when you go and interview or when you actually have to do the work, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so
the proof comes out.
Yeah, the proof comes out. The fraud will always get figured out.
Right, absolutely.
That's that rule.
Yeah.
But someone's always trying to game the system.
Of course.
Right.
And so, you have to just really do your due diligence, be on top of your ethical standards of how you test people, how you get assessments and so on. And in business, most business people cheat. Business degrees, 75% of them cheat. I mean, that's a
Really?
statistic.
I didn't
Cal
cheat
State
on
Northridge.
mine.
I didn't cheat on mine.
I didn't cheat
didn't
on
have
mine
to.
I thought about it.
I didn't.
I wanted to.
I wish I could have. I didn't have nobody around to cheat on. I was by myself, chilling in Kansas. Nobody was around me. I was like,
By yourself.
I don't know if they can see me on the camera. I used to be like this on Saturday night. It's writing, not typing, but writing. That was old school.
That's old school.
Yeah, that's old school. Yeah, that's cool. But so the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
With the,
That's amazing.
That it really is, and this we could be seeing the beginning of something that would be huge.
You are.
Yeah. How do we support your academy?
So right now we're doing a capital campaign. We're fundraising through Dorsey Academy online. You can go to a site called Fundraiser and just look up Dorsey Academy, and you can support it that way. We're just asking for, the traditional Obama campaign, $5 here, $10 there. We just feel like the more people that know about how to help entrepreneurs. See, getting started in business is one thing, but entrepreneurs do face the biggest challenges because they need operating capital.
Right. Absolutely.
So, I'm in the same boat as a business startup. We need to get money in. Now, the other side of it is refer students. Let's identify these students, these young people that want to learn how to actually go in business, and let's teach them the right way, setting up their paperwork, corporations, giving them the business law advice that they need contractually, and then working through the research of what kind of company it is you want to start, because that's the most challenging aspect.
Right. I want to let Woody chime in on this.
Sure.
Because Woody's an entrepreneur as well. What are some of the issues and some of the hurdles that you had to face coming up with your business?
Well, in the beginning, it was my client base, building my clientele, and then understanding that I had to keep my overhead low. A friend of mine was an entrepreneur, and he said a couple of wise things to me. One was keep your overhead low, which got me through the financial crisis of 2009. But, a lot of folks, especially in Los Angeles, you make a little money, and you want to go out and show everyone that you're making money, and you go out and buy that car, what have you, and that will kill your business. There are going to be down times in the business. It's like a roller coaster. And you have to be prepared for those down times. And saving is huge. Go to your bank, get a business savings account. You definitely will need it. Do not spend it, because there will be times
when things are running lean.
Now, even in sense of an expansion, if you want to expand your business, you're going to need that savings. If you just want to advertise, you're going to need to go to that savings. You don't want to be utilizing your day-to-day operating capital.
Exactly.
You want to have that savings put aside. So, if I could say anything else, I think that's the biggest key to the success of a business.
Let me get the number in here again. If you guys want to call in for questions or comments about any of the issues we're discussing today, feel free to call in. The number again is 323-843-2826. That's 323-843-2826. Now, one thing that I would love to be smart enough to invent for multiple reasons, and you guys know me, so you know when I say multiple reasons, I mean it, is a time machine.
Oh, man. I'd be so rich.
If I could have a time machine, it's so much that I would have done differently. Probably 99.9% of the people watching and listening to the show would say the same. But, okay, what is one decision business-wise that you've learned the most from, and that you said, okay, if I can share this one bit of advice to keep someone else from stepping into that puddle, this is what it would be?
For me, letting my attorney see all my contracts.
Lawyers.
Lawyers are important.
You got to watch anybody that works on billable hours, I'm telling you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
True, though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got to let them do their job a little bit.
Right.
Oh, really? What, you got anything, Woody?
For me, it's don't judge a book by its cover. So, of course, I'm a higher-end retail establishment, bespoke tailored clothing. And in the beginning, my early years, people would walk through the door, and you kind of assume that maybe they couldn't afford you. And I remember making the biggest mistake of my life with a guy that needed my help. And that's why he was there, and he could afford the help. So, and that's not my character anyway. But it was one of those days I was busy and I didn't feel like being bothered. He walks through the door, and I'm saying to myself, man, you're wasting my time. And he turned out to be,
Mark
to this
Zuckerberg.
Day, not quite, but one of my best clients. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. So that's a lesson I'll always take.
That's a lesson that a lot of people should take in general in regards to
every day of your life.
Yeah, because every day for young entrepreneurs that may be listening to the show, every day and every person you interact with is a networking opportunity, because everyone's life is in flux. And like Woody said, there will be downtimes. And if you meet someone during their downtime, that doesn't mean they're always going to be there. At some point, they're going to be in the upswing again. So if you are consistently courteous, if you're consistently professional, if you're just consistently a good person, assuming that's who you are at your core, be that. Don't change depending on what you think the other person's circumstances are, because circumstances change. And what I've benefited from in my life is that, and maybe it came from my parents, was that I've always treated people, regardless of whatever station they've held in life, I've treated them with respect. Even the people that can't do anything for you, you treat them with a level of respect and courteousness that you would do anybody. See, because the people that already have it all, they already have a guard up.
Right.
Because they know that people are going to treat them nice because they may want something from them.
Right.
So that guard is up. So if you're in one of those rare situations where you meet someone and you are consistent with this type of mindset that I'm speaking about, who knows, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you never know, that same person could be at a certain station in life, and they will remember when they had nothing, this was the person that was a stand-up person.
Right.
And your reputation, your professional reputation and your personal reputation will follow you. So any young entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, we are our own boss, but we still answer to somebody, and that somebody is the customer.
That's right, and you're exactly right, because there's guys that have come to my office. They say, I'm not in a position right now, but I'll be here one day. And I treat them as if, based on my experience with the other client, as if they are a client. And they come back and they say, hey, man, I got to tell you something.
Yeah.
You treated me
Exactly.
the way that no one has treated me before, and, in terms of explaining to me the proper wardrobe and how to dress for success. So you're absolutely right, Ron.
Yeah, that's true. And Woody does have some good clothes. Sometimes I wonder about some of the colors you used to choose for me.
It's all about color, man.
I'm like straight laced. I'm kind of boring.
You're
I wear.
conservative.
He doesn't like pink, nothing like that.
I wear white shirts and
Navy suit.
and navy suits, charcoal suits, black suits. Very rarely do you see me trying to be all high fashion. I still be looking good though, but I just keep it.
You're clean. You got that tall frame, that model body.
Yeah, so I just got, and plus I'm in corporate America and in the political realm, so I gotta be able to navigate those. I've never seen President Obama step out with, some seersucker suit on or something crazy like that.
But he's getting dressed. Somebody's dressing him.
Yeah, but still, it's always, that's just me though. But he does his thing. He does his thing.
Yeah.
I remember, what year was that? Woody was like, I don't know, maybe 2004, 2005. He showed me the suit. It looked like something straight like Steve Harvey would wear.
Oh, with
It's
the
like
long, super long.
12 buttons
that's
going
when I
out
was
the
dressing Steve Harvey with the 12 buttons.
Man, I ain't wearing that.
All those ball players. We had the more buttons, the better.
The more buttons. They walked out looking like the Pope.
That's
what I'm saying? Just down to the
dress.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that still.
Now it's the opposite spectrum. It's tight.
Can't go too tight either.
It's short and tight.
Short and tight, and that's too much because that like the trend. That's what it needs, because the fashion industry needs fluctuations and changes, or else you would be like me, where you can buy a suit and wear that same suit for 10 years without it going out of style, because it's classic and it's classic cut, and all I got to do is make sure I stay in shape and I look good. But if you wear something that's trendy, then you got to every season.
It's all cyclical. All the trends, they come back. If you hold your suits now for your kids that come about, they'll be wearing your suits when they're in high school.
Or you could, like I said, you can dress like Russell Westbrook, where ugly is ugly, and you can wear ugly stuff forever, and it'll still be ugly.
I like his style because it's his,
Yeah.
and you got to own it. That's the thing about style. You just kind of got to own it. Would I wear it? No. But he rocks it. But I'll make it. That's right.
Hey, guys, again, 323-843-2826. Again, 323-843-2826. So, Rashid.
Yes.
How is there like a requisite number of years of experience, or do they need a high school degree? I mean, what is the prerequisites before they can apply to join your academy?
So 15 to 65 on up.
Okay.
You're never too young and you're never too old to start, thinking and dreaming and wanting to do your own thing. I even got my son, who's 12, started up in business. He's selling his art.
Okay.
But we see a lot of young entrepreneurs. We deal with some kids that, started their own bow tie lines or started their own, fashion wear or things like that, or lemonade stands. I talked to a couple of young girls, who are making lemonade and producing lemonade. These are the things that we as a society have to encourage, right? Because if we don't continue to keep people thinking creative and doing for self, we're going to be slaves to the system. We're going to be indebted to the government, and we're going to continue to just go and work for someone else when we can actually be.
All this time I didn't know Dr. Dorsey here was Tea Party.
You're so funny, but you know what? I have both sides.
Yeah.
See, you know, all teachers aren't just Democrats. You know, I got both sides, and I see it. You know, like what he said earlier about Trump. He said some things that are actually pretty impressive, but you know, then he gets in his own way.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, but you know, from the standpoint of this whole business aspect and bringing back the middle class, the only way you're gonna bring back the middle class is if you have more people going into business for themselves. Right. The way they have it now set up is that we all have to work for somebody, or we're all the producers, all the consumers. So it's consumers versus producers.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm an entrepreneur. I want to go into business tomorrow. First thing I do to contact you is call you or go to your website.
Yeah, you can just you can either email me at norris.dorsey@gmail.com, or you can give me a call, or you can go to the website. You can find my website on awiseway.com, www.awiseway.com, and you can just hit my name. The most important aspect, though, before you even get to that point, is have some passion for what it is you want to do.
Absolutely.
That's very important.
You know, don't come at me.
Come in half.
Yes, it is. Because, I mean, to feel like to go to a job or you have to wake up in the morning like, it's the worst feeling in the world.
And see, what we do is when we wake up in the morning, I'm pretty sure y'all the same as me. I wake up with a nice stretch and a smile. You know, I don't wake up.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you might be you might be hurting your knees, but look, I'm waking up with a smile on my face because I'm happy. You know?
Yeah.
And then I just go about my day doing what I got to do, and the majority of my day is built around research, looking at business, looking at trends, understanding what's going on in the world. Because this isn't just happening. I've been 15 years in research. A lot of people think, oh, you started your own college. Right. No, I've been researching this for 15 years on what I need to do to actually build a business. Right. This is just the industry I'm in.
Yeah. And, you know, I've spoken to a few of his classes in the past over the years. They love him. They love his class. His students really become engaged. And there's been, I can't remember which function it was, but there was an off-campus function that I attended, and you brought a few of your students. Yeah. And
you spoke to them at that?
Yeah, I remember. And you can tell they were very, very motivated, and you can tell that he's had an impact on their lives.
That's fantastic.
And anyone that knows me, anyone in our viewers that knows me, I have basically two soft spots. One is for my elders. I have a very soft spot for my elders in the respect that's due to them. And another soft spot is children and what they can be in regards to if they are allowed to reach their full potential. Yes. And that means the complete person. That means education. That means, like Kareem Webb said last week, love. That means nutrition. Everything that allows that young mind to flourish, because I do believe, and goes back to what you were saying about a little bit about what we're talking about in the Middle East too, that education, in my opinion, it's not just about the technical things of whether or not you can amortize a bond or run Excel or anything like that or do a pivot table. It's about the way you feel about yourself and how you relate to the world, how you see the world. Because when you see the world as an educated person, you can see behind a lot of BS because you know how the mechanisms work. Right. And it sounds, when you say that when you teach students, you're teaching them the real world type of deal. Yeah. Then some of that doesn't come in the classroom.
No, it's school of hard knocks on some of those things, and then it's just over time the wisdom that we get and we share it. And you're right, education is the key to all success. I don't care what it is you're trying to learn, you have to educate yourself on that topic.
Right. Absolutely.
Whether it's making clothes, whether it's dealing with businesses and the like. And I think that it shouldn't cost that much.
No,
it's already going to be hard enough to compete once you're out there.
Exactly.
So the education itself should. It looks like we have a call coming in. Caller, thank you for calling. Can I have your name?
Julie from St. Louis.
Hi, Julie from St. Louis. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. What's your question or comment?
Well, I just wanted to say I think what Dr. Dorsey is doing is wonderful. We need more of that in the world. I think anytime you get any education for young people or any age people, it's always a benefit. It's never a bad investment whatsoever.
Oh, thank you. I know that he appreciates that. Julie, I have a question for you. You said you're in St. Louis, right?
Yes, I am.
Has everything calmed down in Ferguson?
No, it's ongoing. We just don't see it on the news. We've got, I think, in the last week, 7 church fires going on. There's shootings all the time, all across the city. And so, no, nothing's calmed down. It's still heated. It's still kind of dangerous when you step out on the street. You don't really know what to expect. There's been a couple of, suitcase bombs found out in the city. So you just never know what you're going to get. And we also have a landfill scenario going on. That's the fire burning underground in a landfill that's getting close to where they buried some nuclear waste. So I don't know if I'm going to be living very long here. Or
Oh, my God.
It's kind of crazy. It's not very safe around here, that's for sure. So unfortunately, most parts of the United States aren't hearing what's going on over here, but things still happen regardless of whether they're being reported or not.
Well, Julie, thank you for letting us know, and thank you so much for calling in. Please call in and listen frequently, okay?
Let me say one thing too, Ron.
Thank you
All right. Okay, thank you.
Julie, you still there? She's gone.
Yes, I am.
So, one of the things that can help is for the young people to actually have something to do.
Yeah.
When there's no jobs and when there's a struggle to make ends meet, they need to have something to do. And this is an area that I want to get to, because if we can teach them how to do for self, they wouldn't be concerned about, fighting each other. They would be concerned about making some money and selling some products and doing some things for themselves. So this is an area that we need to get to.
I completely agree. Anytime someone has something to focus on other than the problems in their life, goals that they can improve on, work on for themselves, for their family, give them some sort of pride in what they're doing, an accomplishment. I totally agree with you.
Thank you again for calling in, Julie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
Take care.
you
We'll
too.
be praying for you guys down there in Ferguson.
You know that what she just brought up also makes me a little upset, because the news cameras go away.
Oh,
they go away. And churches are burning?
The churches are burning, but that shows how cynical the media can be. They can go on and act like they care about everything that's going on, but what they care about more so is ratings. Because now the locals down there, I'm sure that they're reporting on all of this, but I mean the national news media that's driven by media ads and things of that sort, and they have to prioritize. Now, there's so much going on in the world. I understand that there's only so much content that you can put in, but we have a 24-hour news cycle, and they're constantly looking for ways to feed that beast, because there needs to be something on the screen. These things are important. Maybe because it's Ferguson, maybe they don't want to, make
it's old
people,
news, Ferguson.
Not just that it's old news, but maybe because of the type of communities that it's affecting.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That's
affecting the
problem.
minority communities. And that will, if that's constantly out there.
If it was Beverly Hills, it'd be all over the news.
Yeah, well, that's true. But if it was Beverly Hills ongoing for a long time, which it wouldn't happen.
No.
But if it were, they would eventually move on to the next hot, sexy topic of the day, wherever that is. But at the same time, not dealing with those root conditions that explain why it's like that in the first place. You can't expect for generations of systematic oppression, so to speak, to be solved in one summer with a few burnings and lootings. It's not going to be the same. There needs to be institutional change. And the thing about it is that I think that by and large, the vast majority of people in the United States agree with that sentiment. Whether or not white, black, whatever, that doesn't matter when it goes. I think overall, people are good for the most part.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Good
I
nature.
know that in my life, you guys know that in my life, I have a very, very diverse inner circle. Mm-hmm. People are good. It's just that sometimes systems aren't good. Sometimes systems don't catch up to people. Systems are just like the big ship. Big ships don't turn around. Smaller vessels can turn on a dime, but the big ships, it takes a long time. So sometimes I think that some of our systems, whether it's the penal system, whether it's the education system, whether it's racial injustice and other means, whether financial sectors and things of that sort, those institutional vices that hold us back from being who we are, those things are very slow moving, and they need constant attention so that we can get that ship moved around as soon as possible, just so that the next generation won't have to have the same sort of grievances that we have in this generation. I know we're coming down to the end of the show, so I want to give my two guests a chance here to plug out whatever you want to plug real quick. You guys have 30 seconds apiece. And Woody, go first. Let me know what's good.
Listen, I'm just happy to be here. Congratulations to you on your radio show. I think it's fabulous work what you're doing here, and I appreciate you having me on again. So we plug along at woodywilson.com. We're in Beverly Hills on Wilshire Boulevard. We welcome all those who are in need of a look of success, and we're on Instagram at Woody Wilson Bespoke, also LinkedIn, Woody Wilson, and appreciate your feedback. Take a look at our website. It's updating as we go day by day, and again, thanks again.
All right, you got it. Dr. Dorsey.
For me, take a look at awiseway.com. You can look at some of those videos on there, download, and you can also find me at Norris Dorsey, and then also hashtag Dorsey Academy. And the plug that I want to give out is for LSO, who's having a weekend sale for women's. So if you want to find something good for your wife or girlfriend, or if you're just looking for something for yourself, take a look at LSO.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this week's edition of Focus with Ronnie Frierson. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.